Like I said, I'm just gonna make a video whenever I just get the urge to make a video. So this video, right? You don't owe anyone an explanation. That's what I'm saying. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Hawk Sensei, what are you talking about? Look, right? If somebody asks you something, you don't have to give them an answer. Unless, of course, that's a legal question you're being asked. And you're under fire. You're in a court of public opinion or the court of judicial court of judiciary workings. You know what I mean? Outside of that, you don't owe anybody an explanation. I had to learn this. And I was watching a video and it said those exact words. It said, you don't owe anyone an explanation. And something in my mind just clicked and like, that's it. That's the next video. But I'm saying this because you may feel like you need to explain yourself, or you need to help people better understand why you're doing what you're doing, or the method to the madness. No, not at all. I'm coming to the realization that this whole thing is up to you. It's all up to you. Every day we get to make a decision to choose what we will do, what we won't do, what we want to do, what we don't want to do. Every day we make that choice, right? And what I see, most people, when they ask a question, is because they're trying to find information that may be valuable to them, right? But when you think about that, right, the question that this person is asking me, do I care to answer? Does it matter if they get this information from me or not? Will that change my perspective on life or the world or living? I highly doubt it. So I'm making this video to remind you, you don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't. A lot of the things that we do in life, we feel like we need to explain ourselves. You know what I mean? You're doing something, so like, why are you doing that? I'm doing it because I want to. No other reason is necessary. You see me doing it, I'm doing it because I want to. I'm doing it because I have an idea about this. I see something in my mind that you probably can't see from my perspective or my point of view. Right? That's what I mean by you don't owe anybody an explanation. Whatever it is you try to do in life, you don't need other people's approval when you're trying to do it. You may need their approval when the product is finished and you want to see if people will buy it or people will subscribe to it or what have you. But ultimately, anything that you're doing or you want to do, you don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't. How can I say that another way? You don't have to explain yourself when there is not an authority over you. The only true authority is God. And because he's not outright asking you something, you don't gotta worry about ever really explaining yourself. Unless, of course, you're in court, you're on trial, or something like that. Your parents caught you doing something and they say, why are you doing that? You owe them an explanation. Yeah. But 9 times out of 10 day-to-day interactions, you don't owe nobody an explanation. So don't get up in your private place and in the bathroom, in the mirror somewhere, and start asking yourself questions and finding out what's the best response to get. You don't owe no one an explanation. We really saying you don't need to explain yourself, especially when no one is asking. No one is asking. Who's checking up in on you to see what you're trying to do with your life? Who? And if your answer is nobody, then guess what? You don't owe anyone an explanation. There are a million people in this world who will tell you, you need to do this, you need to do that. It could even be your closest friends, is what I'm saying. When you decide something, you made the decision. I know it sounds simple, but bear with me. When you decide something, when you decide something, you are the one who makes the decision. And whatever comes with it, you got to take that. You got to wear that. It's all on you. But when you take it upon yourself to do something of your own free will and someone wants to question you, you don't have to answer. You don't have to. Because the reason why I'm saying this is because there are times when you can lose ground, lose energy from trying to explain something to someone who probably wouldn't understand it anyway. At least from the angle that you're working. They don't understand it. And that's okay. Because again, the topic of the video, you don't owe anybody an explanation. I can't stress it enough. The importance of knowing that you're doing the right thing. We live in a world of confusion. Confusion. Nobody really knows what they're doing or what they're supposed to be doing. And it's not my place to tell you what to do. You got to figure all that out. Right? When we take it a step further, talking about you don't owe anybody explanation, this may even go, because I don't know what age you are watching this video, this may even go as far as your parents, like in certain situations and circumstances. There are times when you may want to do something, but everything in life is telling you not to do it. Not because it's bad, because everybody or everything in life wants you to do something else. Right? Wants you to do something else. Something that they know is going to work. Something that they think is safe. Something that might be, quote unquote, good for you. I think ultimately each and every one of us knows what's good for us. Especially when you become an adult. You know what's good for you and you know what's not good for you. Right? The essence of being an adult is knowing that everything falls on you. Whatever decisions you make, whatever choices you make, it's all going to fall back on you. You don't have no one else to blame. You don't have no one to explain your case to. There's no need to explain. Make it plain so everybody else understands. If you want people to know, if you want people to understand, make it simple. Make it plain so everybody can understand. If you got a mission, a dream, a goal, and you want people to understand it, make it easy to digest. Don't have people asking all these questions because they can't see your vision. Sometimes your vision is not for the people around you. Your vision is for people who you've never met before, who are of a like mind, who are of similar thinking or similar wavelength. Like they're into some of the same things that you are, right? Sometimes we cross paths with those people. They don't ask for explanations. They just want to be a part of whatever you got going on. Or they like you, they want to vibe with you. See, that's what I realized. People who really care about you, they're gonna trust that you know what you're doing, and they're gonna believe that you're not gonna mess them up if they get involved in this thing. And I'm speaking in like a straw man sense, because I don't have any examples that I can give you, you know what I mean, just right off the top of my head. But the topic of the video is you don't owe anybody an explanation. And I'm trying my best to articulate it and break it down to a point where you understand it and see it clearly. Clearly. Because you gotta understand, we all have a certain amount of energy every day, a certain amount of wherewithal, a certain amount of endurance. And if you're constantly trying to plead your case and explain why you're doing this or you're doing that, you're just wasting away. You're just wasting away. Because a lot of times people from the outside looking in, they don't see the value that you see when you do this thing, or you're a part of this thing, or you're working on this, whatever it is. They can't see it the way that you see it. So you gotta move a different way. You gotta understand that not everybody's gonna care about what you're doing. Not everybody's interested in what you're doing. Not everybody really cares to know what you're doing. They just want to ask you to try to ridicule you and say, oh, you trying to do this, oh, you trying to do that, oh, that ain't gonna work, oh, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just that. It's just imps and demons just trying to mess with you. You know what I mean? You gotta decipher and discern the difference when you come across an ally or an opposition. An ally will ask you questions to try to better what's going on. An opposition is going to ask you questions to figure out your weakness to break you down. That's the whole thing. You got to understand when you interacting with people, where they at, where they're coming from, what is their aim, what is their goal for them interacting with you. You got to find it. Right? Sometimes you may think some people are your friends, and it takes years. It takes years to realize that they never really were. And that's heartbreaking. I'm certain that's heartbreaking. But whatever way you feel about that heartbreak, you don't owe anybody an explanation. Whatever you feel, whatever you want, whatever you think, you don't owe anybody an explanation. I don't know how I can say it to where you can see it vividly, but you gotta understand how valuable you are. One, to yourself. How valuable are you to yourself? And if you know to yourself you are very valuable, you won't waste your time explaining things that don't need to be explained, or explaining things that are easily understandable. You won't waste your time. So, with that being said, Professor Hawk signing out. Hawk Sensei bids you adieu. Hope you're waking up every day with a plan, a purpose, and a smile. If you're not waking up with a plan, a purpose, and a smile, hey, at least you waking up. Class dismissed, yo. Take care. Till next time.